Okay today. How are you? Well, I have just recently filed for divorce from my husband. He's always been kind of mentally and verbally abusive with me. And then the day after I filed, I found out that he's been seeing a lady for several months. And I think that probably contributed to the way he was talking and treating me. However, I feel like I need some counseling because it's really hard to deal with all this at one time, and I feel like I need counseling. I've tried several places and haven't been able to find anyone. You know, I just don't know where to look. I really feel like I need counseling. And my other question is it ever all right for a man to hit a woman?
Absolutely not.
Has he hit you? Has he hit you?
He has, but I always somehow find out. I mean, not find out, but I usually make it. If I hadn't have done something, then it would have never happened.
Okay. Well, listen up, and we'll try to get you some help here, all right? So go ahead. And the answer, and I'm sorry what you're going through, but she's very brave to be taking this step.
I will say that absolutely not. There is no excuse. And
for hitting anyone, man or woman, woman, man, there's no excuse.
You know, and I'm sorry you've had to be in that situation. I will tell you this, your response is really what a lot of women feel, as though they can be better to make things better, but it's really all about him trying to have power and control, I can't say it enough, over you. I will say this, if you call our crisis line, we do have free sessions that we have to talk with women and work them through these situations, and I think that it would be beneficial to you, especially with young children, to work through some of the issues through counseling. It is very good and very supportive of you, but he was absolutely wrong for ever hitting you, and unfortunately there was nothing that you could have done to make things better.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And Mary Elena, let's put up the number just for her since she's on the line right now so she can get that crisis number, if we can put that CG up. Okay, yeah, she's going to put that up there here in a second. But yeah, women then sometimes will blame themselves or think, if I hadn't said that, he wouldn't have punched me or something like that. And again, it's just interesting. And there's the number. Thanks for putting that up. Yeah, there's the number she can call, right? Let's get it back up there. Okay. Anyway, yeah, the number, if she calls that, and one of the operators will...
Yeah, they'll work her through that situation.
1-800-334-4628. Now, she's in a little bit different situation, maybe, that she's already filed for divorce. It's not like she needs to leave a situation. But she still
has to process it, what has happened. And some of the things, and as I said, that some of the victims will say, really, the psychological abuse is what really lasts well beyond the relationship and your ability to really feel good about yourself. And that's very difficult, because I always tell women, you really cannot cook well enough, look good enough, etc., to get out of a domestic violence situation. Those are all excuses for exercising that control over the person. It really doesn't have anything to do with what you wear, what you look like, how much you weigh, how, you know, what a good cook you are, whether or not you're keeping the house clean. Those are all ways to gain control over you psychologically.
I was thinking about women then sometimes not defending, but refusing to press charges when it can be a criminal case. They'll call. There have been some high-profile local cases. It makes it into the news sometimes if it's an athlete or something like that who's maybe arrested. And there have been a few with some of our professional sports teams in town. And oftentimes, after the fact, once police respond, the women then don't want to press charges. And again, that doesn't matter. Once police, right? The DA can press charges whether she wants to participate or not at that point, correct? All right, so, but that happens because it settles down, and how often do they think, well, this is going to hurt my partner's career?
Yes, because they do have affection and love, and it's not irrational, it's just the way things are because you have a relationship with this person. It's difficult to take that action against someone that you have feelings for. Emotions are running high, and you don't want to hurt them. You just want them to stop that behavior. But often that's difficult for them, and you can't continue like that.
Let's take a phone call from Lacey. Hi, Lacey. Good morning, Lacey.
Good morning.
Hey, how can we help you, ma'am?
Okay, I have a question basically pertaining to my husband. I'm not seeking legal advice, but I am just having a question. About in 2014, my husband, which we've been together for years, he was with another woman, which he has a child with, and she had tried to put domestic violence charges on him and then dropped it all back in 2014. But then come around this past December in 2017, she wanted to bring the charges back up for no reason. And now I've been with my husband 4 years, and he's never, ever been any way towards me like that. Like, never. Like, he's never raised his voice. He's never raised his hand. And I'm just feeling like she's just not making any accusations that are truthful.
Yeah, and he's not been with her in years, correct? I mean, is he?
He hasn't been with her since 2014.
Yeah.
Me and him have been together since 2014.
Okay, and so your question is, I mean, is he involved in, are they investigating him? Have they charged him, or what's happened at this point?
We actually went to court over it in January, and they forced him to take probation on it, and they forced him to take a guilty plea.
Oh, is this because it had something to do with the custody of the children and such, or the child? Or
no,
how did they force him to take a guilty plea? What evidence was there?
Apparently she showed up. That's really all it was. We were in court less than 4 minutes. We hired a lawyer. The lawyer didn't even give us any options, like maybe he could speak to her, see why she's trying to put these charges on him. I just don't understand why he had to take a guilty plea, even though that there could have been more options, further investigation, and there was no proof that he had done anything to her other than her word.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one for me. He may have had a lousy lawyer. What do you think?
I don't know. I find it, very, I don't want to say suspicious, but no one is forced to take a guilty plea. You have all the freedoms that the court system gives you, and if he chose to fight it, he could have. Now, I can't judge. I don't know all the facts of the situation, and maybe his lawyer felt as though that was his best option given the facts. I will say this, is there are people that act differently depending on the relationship that they're in. So I would advise you to not discount what she's saying. I don't know if she's telling the truth. We don't know the facts, but someone can act one way with one person and not with another. And it may take a while for a person to evolve into a negative behavior. But I mean, the facts don't really sync up with my knowledge of how the system works. But if he pleaded guilty, he pleaded guilty. So that's something he'll have to live with.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I don't know, when you say forced, the bottom line is they can't force you to do anything. You can say, I'm not going to plead to anything. We're going to trial and fight it. Now, your lawyer may have told you, your best option's here. If you go to trial, it could be worse if you lose. And if that's the case, that's fine. But that was his choice to make. So I'm not sure, but they can't force you to do anything. You can say, no, we're going to trial. Let's see what the jury thinks. But yeah, and you're right. We don't know on this case. I think it's an important point you make. With her, she's not seen any of this behavior in 4 years, 5 years, and but it's possible that there's a different mix with this other woman that for some reason produced it. So you never know for sure, right? Okay, I mean, how often do these cases end up in court, or oftentimes do they not, except when it comes to the divorce after the women leave and get to, say, your shelter?
It varies. I know that here in Davidson County, there, actually have a court docket that's full of domestic violence cases. And part of that is the police officers and the DAs here are very educated in the area of domestic violence, and they know how to work with victims. So it's easier for them to tell their stories, because it's very intimidating going to court. I know the family is now, it used to be Family Justice Center, now it's a Family Safety Center. The Gene Crow advocates work with victims so that you can get your story told, because as I said, the court system itself is very intimidating. Even walking through the courtroom is very intimidating. So in order for the full story to play itself out as it should, you need to make sure that both victims and also people who are accused have a fair day, and the way that you can do that is for the system to make both parties to be able to tell their stories.
I've been in there in the past, sitting in to some of those hearings where they're seeking an order of protection or something along those lines, and both sides get their say, and that is where the judges, in my opinion, earn their money. It is a difficult thing. You listen to this, sometimes there's physical evidence to draw from, from, but other times there's not. And an order of protection or something like that can save a life, or it can create a great inconvenience if it's not merited. So they're very cautious on that. But heck, order protections too are only as good as the paper they're written on, whether the person follows it. So we'll take a break on that note. When we come back, our final segment with our guests. If you want to join in the conversation, 737-7587. Back with more right after this.